Hello there, welcome back. This is another 7th grade math video, and in this video, what we're going to do is review how to add and subtract integers. So if you are new to this concept, you might want to check out a separate video I did on just adding integers, and then a separate video I did on just subtracting integers. This video is going to mix up the two between adding and subtracting. Okay, here's the first problem we're going to do together. We're going to take -5 and we're going to add -3 to that. So just to review, I'm going to kind of put our rules for adding integers here at the bottom and kind of type them out. Okay, so here we go. So if we're adding integers and we have the same sign, we're going to keep the sign and then add the numbers. Okay, now if we have different signs, we're going to keep the sign of the bigger number and then subtract the numbers. So I'm going to leave those down here as we're doing this, just to remind you. So if we have -5 plus -3, we're going to use our same sign rules. And that means we're going to keep that sign and then add the numbers. So since both of those are negative, we're going to keep that negative sign. That's our answer is going to be negative. Now we just need to add the numbers. So 5 plus 3 would be 8. So that means that -5 plus -3 is equal to 8. Okay, here's our next example. We're going to take 5 and we're going to add -4. So these two have different signs. 5 is positive and 4 is negative. So what we're going to do is use our different signs rules. That means we're going to keep the sign of the bigger number and subtract them. So 5 is bigger than 4, which means, and it's positive. So that's going to be our answer is going to be a positive because we have more positives than we do negatives. So you can either put a little plus here so you know that you've thought about that, or you can just kind of keep that in mind. The second step is to subtract the number. So I'm going to take 5 and -4, and that's going to give me 1. So the answer here would be +1 or just 1. Okay, here's our next one. We're going to take -9 and subtract 10 from that. So I left the adding integers rules on there because we're going to do something to the subtraction equation that turns it into an adding equation. And then we can use the adding integers rules. That something is called keep, change, or there's some different names for it, but the idea is the same. That means we're going to keep the first integer the same. So -9 stays the same. We're going to change from subtracting to adding. So I'm going to go ahead and change that. And then we're going to change the sign of the second integer. So that second integer is a +10. We're going to change it to a -10. Now we're going to use our adding integers rules to finish this problem. Now both of those have the same sign and they're both negative. So we're going to go ahead and keep that negative sign. Then we're going to have to add those integers together. 9 plus 10 is 19. So the answer to this, -9 minus 10, is -19. Okay, here's our next problem. We're going to be taking -5 and we're going to add 6 to that. So this is an adding integers problem, so we don't need to use keep, change. But what we do need is we have different signs. So we're going to have to use our different signs rules. The different signs rules said we keep the sign of the bigger number and then subtract the numbers. Well, 5 and 6, when you compare those, 6 is bigger than 5 and 6 is positive. So that means our answer is going to be positive. So I'm going to put a little plus there just to show that we might have already thought about this. When we subtract our numbers for our next step, we would take 6 minus 5, which is equal to 1. So I'm going to rewrite that answer +1 or +1 as just 1. So that would be your answer. Okay, here's our last example that we're going to be doing for this video. Again, this was a quick review where we mixed up adding and subtracting together. I do have some other videos that go more in depth into adding and more in depth into subtracting separately. This is going to be -96 minus 4. So this is a subtraction equation, which means we're going to use keep, change to turn it into an adding integers equation so that we can use our adding integers rules. So keep means we're keeping that first integer the same. So we're going to keep that as -96. We're going to change from subtraction to adding. And then we're going to change the sign of the second integer from a +4 to a -4. So I'm going to rewrite that like so. Now, both of those integers are now the same sign, which means they are both negative. So that means we're going to keep that negative sign. And then we're going to have to add those numbers together. Well, 96 plus 4 is equal to 100. So the answer to this, to negative 96 minus 4, is negative 100. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you in another video soon.